Hi there! So let's continue on our ride and make a stop here at Excel Online, specifically chart tools. Now, working with Excel Online allows us some great opportunities to visualize our data while viewing and editing spreadsheets right here in your web browser. I have a chart of sales data here, but this isn't nearly as interesting or perhaps impactful of a way to present data as putting it into a chart. Now, once I've selected this table by simply placing my cursor here, I can use the Insert tab in Excel Online to insert and create a chart. Now I'll see the different types of charts here and can select from them simply by clicking on the drop down and choosing the types of charts that I'd like to use when visualizing my data. And you'll see it gives a few suggestions as I hover over them with my mouse. Now once I choose a type of chart, I'll see that illustrated here and see how my data plays out. Now, with that chart selected, you'll notice that we have a new tab in Excel Online specifically for charts. This is called the Chart Tools tab, and this has all sorts of commands and controls that allow me to modify my chart. On the left, you'll see that I have the option to switch row column. Now, that changes the orientation of my chart to the extent that it makes sense depending on just how my data is organized. I also see the Select Data button. Now, that allows me to determine what table arranged data I'm using Excel charts to illustrate, and we automatically grab that by putting our data into a table, and Excel is clever enough to understand that all of that data goes together. Now, with this chart selected, I can also change the type of chart here. So if I decide that maybe this column chart isn't quite what I'm looking for and I prefer to do a bar chart, I'll simply select here on the drop-down from this list of available chart types. And I'll see my data transformed. We can see things like a pie chart and all sorts of different types of charts that are available in the commands. You'll see under Other Charts, we could even enter some more sophisticated chart types that you may be familiar working with in Excel or other programs. Now, once we created our chart, and I'll go back to the column chart, Excel then gives us opportunities to modify it. So let's actually modify this to be a line chart. And from here, you'll see that depending on what type of chart we have, Excel gives us several options to modify this chart. I can change the title of the chart. I can change its positioning or even edit the chart title so that rather than being based on what was in my table, I can manually enter something. So let's say I'll name this Monthly Sales Report, and I'll click OK. Next, we can look at how we title our axes, and I can look at putting a legend on the table if I need to clarify perhaps different series of data. Ours is pretty straightforward, but we'll add that just for visualization. I can even insert data labels and data table. Now, both of these are simply a way to put the actual values that represent my data directly in my chart. So I'm going to click here on Data Labels and choose Center. Now, in our case, we have some pretty big numbers there, so it might get a little complicated, but you can see how this really starts to allow me to adjust my chart. And as I adjust the size of my chart, you'll notice that Excel is going to automatically give those data labels and all of the content in my chart a little bit more room to work with. Again, remember that our starting point for this is simply to have a table of information. Select either the table or a point within it to help Excel know what data you want to visualize. Select Insert Chart, and with the chart selected, use the tools available to you on the Chart Tools tab to really fine-tune your data to make a really powerful presentation of information right here in Excel Online. So thanks for watching your favorite application in action, and if you'd like to see more training videos like this, just send us a quick note. Cheers from SolarTech.